Welcome back. My name is Calvin Smith, Statue Fanatic. And first, I would like to say Happy New Year to all of you. And I wish that 2017 brings all the happiness and prosperity you deserve. Let's get started with the review. This is of Sideshow's Masters of the Universe line with their first in the series, which is He-Man. And I am keenly aware that there are no shortages of this statue on the internet. I think that everyone that got this statue decided to put it up, either unbox it or review it. So this is going to be a very, very short review. One of the viewers, Tony77, asked if I would review the statue, and so here is that review. I'm like many of the other people who have reviewed the statue. I'm very pleased with the statue. My only concern with this statue was that it was going to be 1/5 scale and not 1/4 scale. And I still wish the statue was a 1/4 scale statue. But other than that, the statue is really nice. Sideshow, I think, with this line of statues, hit a home run. When it comes to sculpt, when it comes to detailing in the statue, I think they did a fantastic job. There are some things that I do want to point out on the statue that I think are important. So let's get started with that. First of all, the sculpt is really nice. The portrait, the hair, all sculpted really well. The body sculpt is nice. There's a lot of nice shading on the body. There's nothing on here that stands out that, says, oh, why did they do that or why didn't they do that? It all looks really nice. One thing that people have complained about or had concerns about was the amount of, I guess what some people call PVC on the statues. Not so much on this statue, but the Skeletor statue definitely had a lot of it on there. But that's not a bad thing in my opinion. The paint job on it is fantastic. There is nearly no area on the statue where there's paint that's been done sloppily or there's spillover or anything like that. Even the breastplate, the shoulder plate, his gauntlets, his boots, all those things are painted really nicely and really finely detailed painted. One of the things that people were having an issue with was when they got the shield, this little thing was had come loose, and mine was no exception. But it was glued in the first place. That's how Sideshow did it, and so they just didn't put enough glue. So I put another drop of super glue or model glue on it, and it fixed it just fine. Some of the other things about the statue, it does come with some mixed media. The cape itself had some nice detail. They gave it this worn, tattered look, even adding the appearance of mud at the end of the cape. It's really nice. A lot of people had some difficulty getting the cape on. Now, the statue displays beautifully without the cape as well as with the cape. I have not decided whether I'm going to display it with or without the cape, but there is something that's kind of making me make my decision. This cape with the leather straps, the leather has some type of dye that tends to come off. And the more that it's rubbed against the paint job, it rubs off on there. And I've been able to wipe it off for the most part, but anytime that you move the cape around and it rubs against the skin, it does leave that stain and that residue on the paint, and I'm not very happy with that. Another feature is you notice that he has this little area here on his back where you can put one of the accessories that comes with him. He either has this sword or he has this sword that can go on his back. You guys have seen many reviews on there where people have put it on there, so I'm not going to go through all of that. But what I do want to point out to this, so those of you who may not have the statue or may not be aware of this, it does fit very nicely in the place that it's meant to go. However, the magnet isn't very strong, and even if it were strong, it would not matter in this situation. So what happens is that, you know how many times we like to rearrange our statues or maybe repose them, reposition the cape. With this statue, we need to be pretty careful when we do that, because if you were to slightly move this falls off. So, but if you're like me and you store statues at certain levels, there could be a statue that's stored below it. Something of this size could really fall off and hit one of your other statues and possibly nick or chip one of your statues, or even break this depending on what it fell on. So just be careful that whenever you decide to move this guy and he has one of these swords attached to his back, that you actually remove the sword first before you readjust the cape. Another thing, this is an exclusive statue, and what makes it exclusive is that it comes with this battle axe. A lot of people are really excited that this battle axe actually was made out of metal, which is a nice touch, and it is pretty heavy too. In fact, it's so heavy until I was concerned that it might not actually stay on here. and I was scared it might fall off. But the magnet on that is pretty strong. Now, my other concern with the metal was, one, of course, it's nice, but my concern was that I've collected other statues in the past. For example, I collect C.S. Moore statues from 20 years ago when he was doing statues. He still is, I think. But for example, I got the Pitt statue from him, and that Pitt statue came with some really nice chains on it. But chemistry still works when it comes to things like that. Metal exposed to the atmosphere, there's moisture in the atmosphere, and over a period of time that will rust. And I was concerned that maybe something this large with this much metal would start to tarnish or oxidize as well. So I reached out to Sideshow and I asked them about taking care of this and the potential of that happening. And they emailed me back and said that the statue, like this is in fact metal, but they have coated it with a coating that will protect it for a very, very long time, and that the concern that I have of it rusting was not really a concern that I should have, that the statue would be okay and that the metal would be okay. So I'll put this back on there, and again, just be careful when you do it. Other than that, not a whole lot else that I would like to talk about as far as the statue is concerned. You guys have seen the reviews. I'm on board with everybody else. It's a great statue. Again, my only concern or my only wish is that it were a quarter scale statue. This again is the first in the series, Skeletor being the second one, and Evil-Lyn the third. And during Sideshow's 12 days of Sideshow, they've announced that She-Ra will be the fourth statue in this collection. Something else I want to share with you guys, that some of you from the 80s who are really big fans of He-Man, and myself included, how many of you, along with me, used to play with your action figures, for example, He-Man and Thundercats, and make them fight and have these interactions and things like that. So guess what? I want to show you something. DC has actually released a series right now, a limited series where you have He-Man and Thundercat story crossover, which is pretty awesome. They're on issue 3 right now, so if you haven't picked that up, I would recommend that you do it, especially if you're a fan of these characters. It's a great story. It's a fun story to read. Very limited in terms of the run. It's not a regular series. So pick that up if you want to read a little bit more about that and relive that part of your childhood. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and continuing to watch and like and subscribe to the channel. It's beginning to become a lot of fun doing this, and I love hearing the feedback from people. Thanks for the encouragement. And again, I wish the very best for you guys in 2017. Take care. Thank you.